I got this Game Boy Pocket on eBay. The seller listed it as parts in repair, but didn't say anything else about it. Let's see what we learn. These guys only run on 2 AAA batteries. Apparently they have like terrible battery life. We can leave that off. Hey, we get sound. We get mega sound. I see absolutely nothing. Can it read a game? Was that a horizontal line I just saw? Oh, I'm playing with the volume wheel, that's why. Okay. Now I see. Maybe you guys could too. I'll try. Yeah, this thing's terrible. Okay, let's get inside of it. So they released this in 1996 after doing the Play It Loud, I think. They released it for people who had really tiny hands. It also ended up being popular with people who couldn't see over the steering wheel. Ooh, crunchy screw. Yeah. Give me a nice corroded screw. I'm really excited for what the inside of this thing's gonna look like. Look at that beauty. Oh! Good lord, dude! What did this poor guy go through? Are they all like this? Tell me they're all like this. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Alright. Yep. Guys, I'm really good at screwdrivers. And there we go. Alright. A little bit of dirt. Honestly, so much better than what I anticipated the inside to look like. Look at all the dirt on the motherboard, though. That's so cute. Oh, and a sticky power switch. There are actually quite a few differences between this and the original Game Boy. So obviously the 2 AAA batteries, so that you have terrible battery life, and the size as well. But one of the nice things that they added is they changed the ribbon cable for the screen, so now you get these gates that you get to trip. And it feels more like you're playing a game. And she's free. After working on this Wii, this thing is such a breath of fresh air. The total number of screws in this device is probably like equivalent to 1 panel in the Wii. The other thing is, since there's only 1 board, as opposed to the 2 that they used in the original Game Boy, it means that there's a lot of vias. So you can get some really fun problems if you get enough corrosion. Vias are these really tiny holes you see everywhere. It allows current or data or whatever to freely pass through from one side of the board to the other. And there's a lot of them. So some dirt, some flux. This flux isn't hurting anything, but I'm still going to clean it a little bit. A borderline concerning lack of corrosion. Well, with the board in a condition, we'll set it off to the side. I'll check out these button pads a little bit, just while I'm in the neighborhood. And oh, nice. Oh my god. It's like they played with this thing out in the desert. This guy's not that dirty. He's also in good enough shape. They actually feel so much better than the original button pads. Holy cow. Let's take a look at the finger cheese on the D-pad. Yeah. You love to see it. And then our A and B buttons are, you know, not that bad. So now I need to get to the screen. To do that, these are glued into place. If you apply pressure directly to this screen, you're going to create air bubbles between the LCDs, or between the layers of glass in the LCD. And that's not what we want, because that's how you get dead pixels. And I don't see any right now. So if I get any, that's on me. So what we do is we just need to free the adhesive. So you gently just rotate this a bit. And now, very gently, apply a small amount of pressure to the screen. Alrighty. Before we look at the LCD, we'll take one good look at this shell. Dude, this might be the cleanest inside of a front shell I've seen so far. Now we get to look at the LCD. So these Game Boy Pockets all had the same issue. So this significant screen burn is normal on them. I have to like keep it turned so you can even see it. So for some reason, the glue that they used on this front polarizer just went bad really quick. So, and what really sucks is even when you replace it with a new polarizer, you don't know if your glue is going to have the same issue until it's been there for a while. So I'm hoping the polarizer that I replace this with doesn't suck just as much, but it might. For those of you that watched the green Game Boy Play It Loud that I worked on, you know exactly what we're about to do. I'm going to take a flat blade and very carefully this time remove just the corner of this polarizer. I do not want to use the blade to scrape the entire thing off. I just want to get underneath this corner. So without cutting myself, I'm just going to come in here at this corner. Come a little bit further. And then what I learned last time is it's just best to peel these guys. I'm switching to my plastic tool just to try to peel it enough that I can get my finger under there. There we go. So I did a pretty terrible job at cutting it, and I didn't get a nice even pull. But maybe I can fix that as I come around. I am not fixing it as I come around. Oh no. Oh no, you guys are not going to be in for a satisfying repair at all. I'm really just trying to avoid putting pressure on the screen. Oh, this thing is so crunchy. And there we go. And now, for the part that's absolutely not going to take 2 hours. I need to get all of this gunk off the screen. So all of that is the adhesive. That's got to go. So I'm going to take some isopropyl alcohol and do that. Also, there's our burnt polarizer. I wish we had smell-o-vision. This thing just smells terrible. Okay. I just want this all to soak a bit to reduce how much work I need to do. So we'll let that soak for like 2 minutes, and then I'll start viciously rubbing it. Last time I just took a Q-tip and worked away at it for hours, and we would like this to not be hours of footage. We would like this to be minutes of footage. It's been a couple minutes and this glue is looking a little different. Let's see if I get any of it off. Okay, all right, this is doing nothing. Let's just try the other side of the Q-tip. I wonder if people have used Goo Gone for this. I'm sure they have. I wonder if it works better than just alcohol. The other thing I wonder is if you applied a little bit of heat, if that would do it. The other idea I had is taking a plastic scrapey thing. The last time that I replaced polarizer, I used a razor blade, and I don't know if it was dirty, I don't know if it was broken or dull, or I don't know what the problem was. But I managed to scratch the screen. So I'm not going to use metal today, if I can avoid it. I'm using a very scientific amount of alcohol here. The isopropyl alcohol is drying slower and slower, which just tells me that the glue is getting wetter and wetter. I'm going to try a plastic scrapey thing. Yeah, we're going to be here for a while. Oh my gosh, this stuff gets everywhere. This is making such a mess. I'm trying to look at my LCD for damage, and I do actually see some up here. I do also see some air bubbles that I'm choosing to believe are underneath that are in between the rear polarizer and the LCD, and not between the layers of the LCD. Oh, I got terrible screen cancer. No. Oh. I had a feeling when I saw that damage up there. Plastic scrapey thing for the win. Let it soak in the alcohol, definitely. Patience. Cannot emphasize that enough. And don't let the screen cancer get you. Also, as far as pressure goes, I'm using slightly more than just resting this on here. I finished cleaning this off camera because it was going to take forever. So now that we have all the glue off, we can really get a good idea of the condition of our screen. So you might be able to see when I get the light just right, these darker edges back here, and a little bit down there, all that stuff. It looks like air bubbles. It's actually screen burn on the rear polarizer. Since it's not bad, and this Game Boy is for my personal collection, I'm gonna leave it there, because to deal with this, it's apparently a nightmare. I mean, it doesn't look like it would be that bad to me, but I'm kind of stupid. So a little bit of rear polarizer burn, but I'm going to leave it alone, guys. And the next thing is, I saw it earlier, but we have a little bit of screen cancer. Now, this guy's ready for me to slap on the polarizer, and we can move on, and I can just accept there's a little bit of screen cancer. But I'm going to try to move it out of the way. So, and I want to do this before I put the polarizer on, because I don't want to scratch the polarizer. But I'm just going to, like, try to move it a bit. We can get it to the edge. What we can do is we can take this guy and we can see how far we have to go. So essentially where the current edge is where this bit has to make it. This is called LCD bleed. On an LCD, all the pixels that you see are actually tiny little crystals that go between the two layers of glass on an LCD. LCD bleed happens when something gets between those two layers of glass, and it allows this to move. This could be air, it could be dirt, it could be a number of things, but that's what causes it. Now you can manipulate it a little bit. Typically it won't move much. Like we're talking like, I don't know, millimeters. You can try to move it out of the viewing area. So that's option number one. Option number two is you can just kind of disperse it and you end up with like a large gray looking bubble. It's still a lot less noticeable than this is. So this is moving a little bit for us. This is gonna be a slow process using a very light amount of pressure. I'm starting just past where the LCD bleed is and pushing all the way through to where I want it to go. It likes to follow tracks that it's already on, which is why we're just kind of shoving it this way. If you use too much force, you'll get more LCD bleed. So you can see we've almost got it to the edge. You know, this is like disappearing in such a way that we might get away with it. This is definitely outside the viewing area. Yeah. We have some gray left behind. That's normal. You're not going to get all of the pixels. Yeah, we're pretty dang close. So now we're just ready to smooth this out. So to do that, we just go in a circular motion and just disperse some of this a bit. We're going to say that's as good as we're going to get it. So now we're ready to get this polarizer on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that this is as clean as it can be. So we're going to just take this soft, lint-free cloth, and I'm going to kind of buff, because I see some debris on the screen. We definitely got there. So now we're ready to get our polarizer ready. We're just going to look one more time at the screen bleed here. I am happy enough with that. So, ready to cut this guy to size. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our old polarizer. We're going to place him on the new one. We're just going to use him as a template. How did I do this so bad? We're going to grab another polarizer. So we're going to remove the adhesive backing. Get a cotton swab ready. And we're going to very carefully align this guy as best as we can. Now, take your cotton swab and apply outward pressure. This will help you reduce the number of air bubbles that you have to deal with. Now, I'm sure there's some more seasoned hands out there that are doing that a whole lot quicker than I am. But I am going as fast as my current skill level allows me to go. The other thing to keep in mind is I do have a protective film still on this. So just because you see what looks like it could be air bubbles doesn't mean that there are. It could just be underneath that. With that done, now we can cut away our excess. So to do this, we just lay the screen face down. I'm sure you guys had a great shot of my hair there. So now I'm ready to remove my screen protector layer and see what we have. I have the most jagged edge you've ever seen in your life. I'll take my cotton swab and just press out any air bubbles. So with the screen addressed, now it's time to move on to the shell. Actually, with the screen addressed now, it's probably time to move on and get a new solder mat. What have I done to my poor guy? Let me get some of this dirt and flux cleaned up, and if I see any corrosion, I'll address that too. Next, I'll clean up this speaker just a little bit. I think he worked for us earlier, so if he doesn't after this, oopsie. I want to go ahead and just make sure that the contacts on the board for the button pads are good. We didn't get a chance to test the buttons since I couldn't see anything on the screen. So with that out of the way, let's clean the shell. This was surprisingly our longest cleaning project so far. There were these deep scratches all over the shell that had just filled with some black gunk that took quite a while to clean out, and then the sticker residue was pretty stubborn as well. I was able to get most of it off just with a spudger, but it still took probably 2 hours total to get this thing cleaned up. Which, if you're still watching, you probably enjoy the content and you should consider subscribing. It really helps the channel out. Now that we got that clean, we are ready for our assembly. And this one took forever to clean off. Like, I did my best, but there's still just little black bits kind of around. Yeah, you can see it in there. There's some pretty deep scratches. So I got a lot of it. For those of you who were worried that I might have used something abrasive, I didn't. No sandpaper, no magic eraser. This just came out with pure elbow grease and a toothbrush. Okay. Why is there more than one? And then, is this the adhesive? I mean, it's sticky. Okay, so immediately this power doesn't line up. So before I finish cementing this guy into place, I'd like to, you know what? Nope. Nope, that's where that goes now. All right, whatever. That is super dissatisfying. There we go. All right, let's test it. What? Now this game works. I'll tell you what. This repair went a little bit too easy, so we'll go ahead and fix this guy while we're here. Open them up. And then those gold pins, those are just a little dirty. So we're just going to clean that up real quick. To do that, I'm going to take a little bit of deoxit, spread that across the pins. You don't even need as much as I just used. Then take a toothbrush. There we go. That's plenty. Slap him back together. Since we're here, you can add just a little bit more or drop it directly in there. It doesn't matter, but just add a little bit more and kind of rub it against the pins. on the inside as well. This will just help to make sure that the contact pins on this Game Boy are nice and clean. Okay, and now dude, finally! I've actually never cleared the first round on that. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like, and if you'd like to see more just like this, please subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Oh, it just turns out I suck at this.